necessary yet. Yet, right? And then you can get to the next level pretty quick in a very high credibility, high trust, and relationship building fashion by telling a powerful story.
That's so true. In my coaching, the first thing I do in our first coaching session, which is normally my intake session, is that I start off by telling a story of my childhood, about climbing a cherry tree and about helping my sister climb this tree, and then about how she was afraid to jump down out of the tree, and that I left her there, and then my grandmother came out, and my grandmother saved her, and then I got a spanking for it, and all this whole thing in this story. And then I asked people so I asked the person I'm coaching, I'm just like, so what did you get out of this story? And they always pick the last thing I said, was that I remembered this crazy spanking that I got from my grandmother. Yeah. The only spanking I ever got, from her, ever. Okay. Now, she was mean with words, but she never laid a hand on me except for this one time. Yeah. And the thing is that, and that's what they remember. But I go back, I say, well, the one thing that really stands out to me in this story is the fear my sister had because she couldn't jump 3 feet out of a tree, and how fear overtook her and paralyzed her. And then I start talking about fear. And then I ask them, tell me a time in your life when fear paralyzed you. And what this does is that now I've established rapport immediately with people, because I can take people back to their childhood, and either they climbed trees or they wanted to climb trees, one of the two. And so this story immediately connects me with people, and I create rapport immediately. And the thing is that if you really want to help people in life, if you really want to make connections with people, find a story in your life that any and everybody can relate to. And then after you tell this story, make a point about it, especially something like fear or some very heavy emotion like that. And then you can really make a connection with people, and it creates and builds rapport and trust immediately.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just good stuff. So tell me about this book, The 7 Essential Stories Charismatic Leaders Tell.
Right. I wrote that book a couple of years ago, and it's all about the 7 powerful stories that, if you take a look back in history, that anybody that has been of notable character, notable presence and power, and they were able to form movements that did things, you will find that they repeat these 7 stories on a consistent basis, very consistent basis. And the 7 stories are especially evident in the world's great religions. And in fact, way back when, during the early days of Apple's one of Apple's first marketing strategy consultants, Regis McKenna. I believe his name was Regis McKenna. Regis McKenna says, great marketing takes its cues from great religion. And throughout history, there have been thousands of religions, thousands. But today, we are down to a few hundred, and of which there are 3 or 4 that are dominant. So Christianity is at 2.1 billion people. Islam is about 1.8 billion people. And then it drops like a rock thereafter, right? Now, Hinduism, that's not quite true. Hinduism is about 800 million, something like that. But then it drops like a rock, but the powerful religions are ones that are talked about the most often anyways, find themselves in the news, especially in Western culture. You have Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And those are all Abrahamic religions. Now, if you take a look at, so they borrow from the Torah and the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? And if you take a look at it, they repeat these 7 stories to embed the culture, the values, the belief systems of that religion in their adherents' heads. Would you like to hear what the 7 stories are?
Yeah, I would love it. That sounds awesome.